Buddha, eh? Oh, can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha, eh? Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha, eh?
It's taken a while for me to get this podcasting thing under my grip.
Dude, it looks good. Like, I feel like you're in like this sweet ass room with like, you got your San Pellegrino and you got your mic and shit. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you on my little headphones real quick. You got the swag.
Well, you know, I'm all set up here to eventually have everything be like Joe Rogan style, right? So there's another seat over here and another mic and cameras, but you know, you're all the way in Colorado, so
Right.
I got the budget where I got Joe Rogan money, and I start flying you and Richie Stokes out.
Bro, we're there. The second you call, I'm out there, bro. I'm super with the shits. And on the side, dude, I love San Pellegrino, so you should probably get that sponsor as soon as possible.
È anche l'arte più esportata al mondo.
My wife and I, she's a little witchy, so I always call it Spellegrino.
Pellegrino.
Pellegrino, but that's her favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's the space is very cool. You know, just got moved in here. I mean, we moved in June, but it feels like just now is like everything. The dust is set.
Yeah.
We're finishing up like mega landscaping in the backyard. But dude, it's a paradise. It's a temple here.
That sounds super legit. Are you guys landscaping yourself, or do you got like a team of people doing it with you?
Yeah, no, that was one of the deals. Is that was a part of my contribution. We hired. So we got like essentially what it was before was a bunch of pavers that were outside, and now my lady wanted to get flagstone because it's you know, Arizona is really hot, so it's absorbs less heat, retains less heat. And then we made everything super tropical. Like usually in somebody's backyard in Arizona, they'd like, you know, fake grass, lots of gravel, cactuses. But my wife is like lived in Hawaii for a little bit. She was very, very in touch with South America and all of that. So she's like got mini palms everywhere and bamboo in the backyard now. We put down this interesting kind of it's not grass, but it's called carapia. But it's more water efficient, and it has to be like mowed. You don't actually mow it, but it has to like be weed whacked once a year. I was like, I'm hella down with that. Backyard's not gonna up our water bill and maintenance once a year. That, you know, yeah, dude, that's
yeah. But then you know that like that day is gonna come where you're supposed to weed whack it, and you're just gonna be like, "Fuck, I don't want to do that shit." It's that one day a year you're just gonna be like, "Damn, fuck this goddamn grass."
Yeah, I'd rather do that than be like my neighbors out there every. But you know, I still have to mow the front yard. It's not like I'm totally out of the woods. It does. There are those little things, you know, when in a relationship or something, they'll call them a honeydew. But when you live with your family, I lived with my family for a couple of years ago. And while that was really nice, it was also like knock, knock, you know, 8 a.m. My mom's up at the door of my little casita. He's like, so I need you to take this broom and you're going to knock down all of the spider webs on all of the chandeliers and the high places. So I'm like on the top, literally on the top of the ladder, trying to reach the spot in the main entry. And as I'm swatting, spiders are falling down on me. And I was like, the entire time I had to go into this really deep meditative place because I was like, this is fucking hell. You're like fighting for your balance and spiders are raining on your heads, but it's just like, you're only going to have to do this once.
Right. Only once. And then you can move on. I feel it. I can't say I've shared that experience, but I understand wholeheartedly with just like, there's just like little shit, especially when you're a homeowner. If you own your home, it's like, it's always some shit. And that some shit always leads to some other shit that needs to get done before that some shit can get done. So you could have like all the materials over here.
Yeah.
And then like you find this and you're like, I have to spend another $500 just to get this fixed, just to get this fixed.
Oh,
and it's like
podcasting too, bro. It's like you buy the microphone. This is a SMB 700. This is a Joe Rogan microphone, right? But then it's like, oh, but I got to get the arm. Okay, well, I can wrap
arm.
You got to get the XLR cable. Well, then you get the whole thing set up, and then it's like, no, it sounds terrible without a preamp. So you got to get the cloud lifter, and that's another like $500. But I want 2 mics. You got to get 2 cloud lifters. So it's just like, then you got to get the camera. Then you got to get the wires that connect the camera to the camera input thing, because you can't just plug the camera directly in like a webcam.
Nope.
So it's a whole thing. You got to have a capture card, or now at this point, we've got a little system here. Eventually, I got to find my young Jamie. My buddy Tokyo, who isn't with us today, but usually will be on the podcast, is like great for looking stuff up and being the bird ear.
The fact check, the fact checker.
Right, but he's also just the shit talker. Realer with me than that guy. That's why he's got to be the co-host. But eventually there'll be a little cockpit over here. This is where I got you can't see it, but it's like a whole 3 monitor setup and stuff. So ideally the person sits over there running the whole show. They've got a mic, and but you got to figure out who's the young Jamie. Like, nobody gives a shit about me enough to like, I'm going to help you talk to people, and that's going to be our revenue stream. But you got to start somewhere, man. And I'm really happy that I get the opportunity to sit here and talk with you today, man, because in all honesty, even if I had never met you out on tour in Colorado, if I had come across your music, you would no doubt be one of my favorite independent rappers. And I say that, I mean, favorite rapper. Most of my favorite rappers are independent rappers.
Right.
But yeah, you and, is it Robbie Farrell?
So he goes by Rob for Real.
Rob for
Real, yeah.
Yeah. So you and him are legit my 2 favorite Colorado hip hop artists. And
man, thank you.
It's nice to it's nice to get to like even have the opportunity here to talk to you about your creative process and all of that.
Yeah, man. Well, no, thank you for having me. I'm super pumped. Congratulations. I'm stoked. I feel like I'm like the first episode, or I'm in like the first 5. So like I get to be here from the beginning. And then when you're at like 600, you'll bring me back, and we'll be like, you remember the first one? And like I couldn't set up the fucking Zoom because I was an idiot. It'll be great, dude. And people will be able to go back to this. It's fantastic. You're starting a legacy right now, and I'm super pumped to be a part of it, man.
I'll be dressed like the Pope, and you'll be dressed like an astronaut.
Yes.
Dude, it's
Pope astronaut. Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Why not? Yeah, man, because that's the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. It does feel like this is definitely the first Zoom one. So
okay.
That's and that's a beautiful thing to be able to like even take this outside of the Arizona community, because really that's where I'm digging into initially. Here is where I started hip hop, but and then obviously Colorado's a neighboring state, and it also has a really cool hip hop scene.
It's growing, man. It's something to where I don't know, it's a process, man. I feel like I've seen it because I've been doing it for like the last 10 years. So I feel like I've seen it really go from like total shit show to like less of a total shit show to like, hey, now we've got some shit to like really, do, you know what I mean? Like now we got some like ins and outs going on. Now we can like actually have some fun with it. So it's cool. It's difficult in Colorado. There's elements to it that is because of the type of state it is. It's very geared towards country. They don't really like hip hop in like the major venues and things like that. So the venues that have been built for hip hop are like dedicated to that scene for sure. But I think that I'm hoping that it's starting to kind of like transcend to where people are less looking at hip hop as a taboo the way that they do.
How does it work out there in Colorado? Is there like a large pay to play organization that sort of puts on shows and then artists contribute to hop on that? Or is it more like cliquish, or do you just got various producers that aren't necessarily like an entity, right? But they're just putting on a show, or do you put on your own shows? What's the deal?
It's kind of all the above, honestly. There's like, I wouldn't necessarily say like there's an entity that like everybody kind of pays into. I have seen, just in like my minimal research into Arizona, I feel like that's a big way that I've seen things work with like the more major kind of acts. It seems like there's like some guys that kind of really just pull the strings, and then everybody kind of like works there. And there's that element here too, for sure. And then there's definitely the cliques. It's less now. Like it was super cliquish probably like 5 or 6 years ago, I'd say there was like hella like clickiness going on. Everybody had like their crew and shit, and then like everybody's crew kind of dispersed. And now it's kind of just this like, I don't want to say free for all for the most part, but there's an element of like willingness to work now, which is super chill, that I personally like a lot, because it broke down that barrier of like, oh, you're not a part of my clique, so like I don't fuck with you. It's like now it's like, hey, like, I saw you doing some shit a couple years ago and I thought it was super dope. Like we should work together and whatnot. And then you just kind of piggyback off of that. Or maybe that's just been my experience and where I'm at. I'm not entirely sure. Like people could be hella clicky still. I don't know.
No, I
I
mean,
feel like I'm not.
but that's like the internet is it's its own free for all, man. YouTube
Yeah.
for
Yeah, exactly.
views and clicks, and you got to fight against Iran and Russia fighting.
They're buying those ads.
And then, what's funny is like, even as an independent artist, you try to, you put your heart into something and then you release it. But even as an independent artist, you're totally not aware of what the release schedule is for, some of these larger artists. For instance, I dropped Alice in Wonderland the day that Eminem responded to Machine Gun Kelly for Rap Devil. And it could not have been a worse. I mean, obviously, like in terms of my own loyal fan base, but nobody's gonna like. That's the thing that if somebody's gonna send off their tweet or Facebook or something about, it's interesting, man. The free for all mentality is alive and well, but it also then lends itself to like alliance forming.
Yeah, well, and I think that like for scenarios like that too, it comes down to like, okay, well, what can you do to mitigate something like that, right? Like me personally, I'm heavily into like digital marketing and like marketing just in general. So like for me, it's like that sucks what happened to you, but at the same time, you have the area of opportunity to know like this is what all the hashtags are today. You know what I mean? Like this is what everybody's going to this. So it's like piggyback off of it. It's like with that free for all mentality. It's like, you know what? Like I'm gonna grab some scraps. At the very least, I'm gonna get my piece of the day. So I think it's about being really creative with marketing, and I feel like a lot of artists, I feel like a lot of people in general don't really take marketing, at least digital marketing, seriously, because they don't understand it. It's like it's intimidating. It's like, oh, I don't know how to be a marketer, so I'm just not even gonna like deal with any of it. But it's like, no, if you can really kind of learn how to maneuver, you can make it work for you. It's hard with music. Like I've done it with like like actual businesses too. It's so much easier to market a business. If it's like just a tangible, like actual physical business, so much easier to market, like beyond easy. But with music, you really have to know certain things. What's that?
You're talking about like a business is in terms of you're selling a product as opposed to like as an artist, you're selling yourself.
Well, no, not necessarily, because I think as an artist, you are a product. I think you're a brand. Like that's how you should approach everything. So, but in the sense of like finding your demographic, right? Like tailoring your demographic properly, that's a hard thing to figure out, especially as a new artist, as a human being. Like the fan base you might think that you're catering to might not be that fan base at all, and it might not even be the fan base you want to cater to. Like I know people that it's like, yo, you'd be great if you went up in front of like strange music fans, and they're like, fuck strange music. Like I don't want those fans. Like I don't want all that. I wanna perform in front of Lil Webby's fans and like Lil Baby's fans and J. Cole's fans. It's like, yeah, but you don't make the type of music that their demographic is going to want. Like you make a different type of music.
I used to hear that a lot with myself in terms of attracting and marketing myself to Juggalo fans. And that was something to me. I'm like, what? That's not. And then somebody's like, do you listen to your music and know that you pay your face? And then I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Wow. But that is a really good point that you bring up.
Yeah, I mean that's like if I was gonna market you, that'd be the first place I would put you, hands down. Like I'd be like, no, we're gonna put you in front of Juggalos, because the benefit of it too is like you'll expand from there. It's like a lot of people don't recognize, like when you look at TDE for instance, right? Kendrick Lamar, Absol, J Rock, they had Black Hippie going, right? J Rock gets picked up by Strange Music as it's an affiliate label, right? So he's like on Strange Music, but he's still working with TDE. He gets Kendrick in the room with Tech Nine. Kendrick does a record with Tech Nine, grabs a lot of Strange fans, is already building his own base. Dr. Dre co-signs him, which everybody could use a Dr. Dre co-sign if they want to blow up. But it's like Kendrick wasn't above the whole, like, I'm going to get in front of Strange Music fans, right? Like, because that doesn't feed you. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's an element of like, yo, you need to like kind of you need to put your artistry to the side to a degree and like really take a big view into like what your artistry is and say like, yo, if I want to eat off of this, I need to cater to these people. Like these are the people I'm naturally attracting. I need to just continue to naturally attract them. If it bleeds, it bleeds. If it doesn't, at least you know you're eating. You know what I mean?
Well, and then, that's really awesome points. And then even as an artist, if you find yourself not liking the type of people that you're attracting, what better insight do you have to evolve as an artist and start doing something different?
Right.
Which I sing versus rap now is crazy different. And a lot of that stems from, but my own understanding of myself, because, then this gets where it's, the deeper level, right? You are your audience in a very serious way, as they are a mirror of you, and reflection of the kind of energy that you're putting out. That's the kind of energy that then you're attracting. So I want to ask you, man, because there's a couple of songs that I want to like focus on.
Yeah.
With your permission, cut a little bit in throughout our conversation with them.
Yeah, of course.
But one of them is Sauce.
I just wanna know where the cream at. I just wanna know where my rings at.
Total, it's a banger, man. I love blasting that in my car on like a road trip or something. And then I saw the video for it. By the way, Richie Stokes is the best hype man in the world.
Ever.
I can't. Nobody has ever seen has been a better hype man. And then I saw the video, and the video is like black and white. You've got a severed head on a chair. There's a blackface Jesus on playing a banjo that may or may not be censored. I have to. I don't know what our standards gets tighter and tighter, but
yeah.
There's a lot, and then it's you, and you don't necessarily try to portray yourself in any way that's necessarily like glamorous. It's artistic and highly like, oh, interesting. He's got ring pops and a fur coat holding a chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you, what do you feel like your brand is? How did you decide to sculpt it, with that presentation? Because Sauce, I would say, is probably one of the first. You've done a lot of cool artistic and interesting videos since then, but
thank you.
It's breaking out of a little bit of like the sort of more traditional hip hop music video that you'd see with something like Special Price. So where was your head out, and how did you begin to define yourself as an artist?
So Sauce is a funny situation because it's like, one, shout out to Richie, like you said.
Bring your own bassinet.
He actually helped me. Me and him, we were working together at the time, and we would just come up with these ideas of like, yo, let's just do something crazy. Like, let's just do crazy ass shit that like you have no choice. I didn't care if you didn't like the song. I wanted you to rewind the video because you just weren't entirely sure of what you saw. It was just like, I need to see this again. Like, I have to go back because I'm slightly uncomfortable. Was that a blackface Jesus playing a banjo? Why is this fat guy's shirt off? What's with the ring pops? It was this thing where it was like, I wanted to play off of, people's uncomfortability, I think, ultimately. And the song itself, when you dive into it, it's just entirely about how like the industry is so geared and focused on like this brand and this image and this energy, and you got to be this certain way and this, that, and the other. And it's essentially about like an artist who is working on fitting that mold, but in his own way, but doesn't really like to. Like like I don't want to be that mold.
I just wanna go be famous. Such an ignorant Ramus. Tell him lick my anus. Grab the donut. Show us where your pain is. How the fuck I'm gonna paint this? Let me frame this. They gon' play it when the bullshit entertaining. Why you think I'm saying?
Okay, I can understand that, man.
Yeah, so so to me it was like, it wasn't like a demographic thing though. It was like I don't want to be like, I don't want you to put a bunch of fucking chains on me and like make me like you get to pick what I make music about and things of that nature. Like I want to do what I want to do, and I want to talk about things intellectually, but on a lit scale. So it's like when you, with Sauce, for instance, when you listen to it up front, it's like, yo, I could bang this out of my car. Like I could listen to this over and over, and it's super lit, and it's got certain bars that it's like, yo, this is turnt. But then when you really dive into the lyrics of Sauce, you're like, yo, this shit is like mad woke. Kind of. I don't believe in woke. I believe everybody's fake woke. But like it's mad fake woke as fuck. You know what I mean? Like this shit is like, he's actually talking about shit.
My views is skewed cause my drink is screwed and my purpose blue and I'm swerving too and he looking nervous. I'm nervous too cause my pigments say it don't hurt to shoot and they want me living in servitude. But I'm sorry sir, I can't work for you. It's all personal, but I'm versatile with these verses. Pulling this irking you and
I mean, the part of the video where you get pinned down and arrested and, you know, obviously it's timely nowadays and
yeah.
timely then. It continues to be timely because it's likely your life experience, and that's
Right.
hip hop, and instead of fake hip hop. I'm fake hip hop to a certain degree, you know, and that's why it's like I don't play in the hip hop box.
Yeah.
I have to figure out what is this other interesting esoteric box that I can play in, because I can't do the it's an authenticity thing. So when you but I would totally agree with you that it's like one of your more that second verse is very conscious and it's smart.
Thank you.
Now, does that play into the other characters that are in it? Like what's inspiring Blackface Jesus playing banjo, or is that just shock value?
Oh, that was complete shock value. I don't want to pretend like it wasn't, but there was an element of truth behind it, right? I think that my philosophy is like, I believe Jesus was black, or at bare minimum, I think we can all agree he was Middle Eastern of some degree. But what's that?
Looked like Obi-Wan Kenobi in episode 2.
Yeah, definitely doesn't look like that guy. I don't know who that is. That was Christian, not Christ.
Yeah, right.
So with Blackface Jesus, one, I thought we were gonna catch a lot of shit over it. Like I was actually low key kind of paranoid. Like I was like, I gotta make sure that these crazy ass white people don't run up on me. Like I was fixing my address all over the place on all of my documentation. I grabbed like a P.O. box. I was like, nah, you can write me a letter, but you're not gonna fucking run up on me. I don't think so. But it was kind of like this element of truth, right? Like you historically, we took Jesus, who was, like I said, at bare minimum, he was Middle Eastern. He had dark skin. And we took him and we crudely pasted this face, this pale face on him, saying that this is Jesus. So historically, right, when it comes to blackface, the reason that they put blackface on white actors was because they wanted to depict black people in a negative light, and they didn't want to give black people the roles for these movies that they were doing at the time. So they were like, okay, well, we're going to depict them in a negative light, and we're just going to paint it on these white actors because they don't have that personal, they're not going to have a personal guilt behind it. So my philosophy was like, okay, if this is what you're saying is the truth about black people, then let me tell my truth about black people. Because the truth about black people is that Jesus was black. So I will crudely put blackface on white Jesus because that's your truth, right? You're going with your truth. So let me communicate with you in the way that you tried to communicate with us historically. So that was on a more conscious scale, that was the point behind Black Jesus. But when we first, or Blackface Jesus, but when we first thought up Blackface Jesus, it was just like, yo, this shit would just be like total shock value. Mm-hmm. And then like the more that I thought about it, it was like, yo, this shit goes so much deeper than just shock value. But not as many people were offended.
Friend to do it.
Oh well, so that wasn't he.
An actor.
Yeah, he was an actor. So he just looks like Jesus, and he like dresses up as Jesus for like events for people. Like, and I don't even remember. It was somebody that Richie knew. Like, they knew somebody else who did it. The guy who did it, and super cool dude. I promised him I would never tag him in anything or use his name because he didn't want to catch any like blowback for that, which I was like, yeah, that's totally fair. I respect that. But yeah, when I brought it up to him, he was like, shit, I'm down. Like, let's go. Like, and I feel like this is just fun.
If you couldn't find anybody else, Justin Trudeau is always looking for an opportunity.
Maybe I'll bring Blackface Jesus back. Let's bring him.
Played by Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, will be in your next music video, dude.
Let's get him in there, dude. I'm down. Why not?
The internet is a wild place. People can make things happen. Okay, so Sauce is and then you're there's a lot of interesting things going on there with the decision to brand yourself. So I want to talk about the authenticity. I want to talk about how you who is Toussaint Lorenz? You know, first of all, Toussaint is an amazing name. I see the saint in there.
Yeah, thank you.
And is that French? And then how did that name, evolve, and what does it mean to be Toussaint Lorenz? And then we can take that into like IBO, right? Your whole brand.
Sure. It is hella French. It's my name. It's my legal name. So I used to go by Mr. Deuces. I went by my street name growing up was Toussaint, and then I went by Saint for a while, and then I dropped some projects under Toussaint, and then I went by Mr. Deuces, and then one day I was just like, I don't want to be any of these personas. I want to be myself. Like I just want to be me. I want to make music that I want to make. I don't want to feel like I'm like putting this mask on every time I go to do music, because like that's not the point of being artistic to me. To be artistic to me is to tell the truth, and I don't really necessarily feel like I can do that behind a full-blown like just name that isn't me and that isn't mine, and character and so on and so forth. So for me it was kind of like and on top of that I was like, and my name is hella unique in itself, like Toussaint Lorenz. I don't know how many Toussaint Lorenzes you've met, but I've met one other Toussaint in my entire life.
Just the one you probably don't have to fight a lot of people on Google.
I don't have to be Toussaint Lorenz 1. I don't have to be TL94637. I just get to be myself. I get to be Toussaint Lorenz. So that was kind of how that came to be and came to pass. And I got a lot of just really positive feedback from it. Like once I switched, it was kind of like they would look at me. They would be like, "Oh, you're what? Your name is what?" Like before it was like, "Oh, okay, it's Mr. Deuces again." Fucking yeah. Oh, okay, fuck this guy. But when when it's like my name's Toussaint Lorenz, they'd be like, what?
Say.
What's that?
Right, France.
Yeah. So it just drew people in. And from there, it was like, I'm gonna stick with this. I'm just gonna go with my name, and because of that, right? So that led to maintaining integrity. So from there, it was this whole thing where it was like, I wouldn't say I'm the coolest person ever. I never really portrayed to be the coolest person ever. That's never been my goal, or it was probably at one point. But there's a level to me that's I'm different, right? Like the best way that I've heard my style and me explained is actually by DJ Coast. Shout out DJ Coast, Colorado DJ. He's your favorite DJ. You didn't know it yet, but shameless plug. But he said I'm like kimchi. Is how he referred to my style.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So he said, the first time he had kimchi, he didn't like it. It wasn't for him. But it had a certain flavor to it that it was like he randomly got a craving for it and was like, I'm gonna go back and get some. He got some more and he was like, I still don't know if I like it, but I fulfilled that craving. And then the craving came back again. And so he had to go back and do it again. And then he was like, I really fuck with kimchi. And that was essentially how my music grew on him. It was like, at first he was like, no, I don't like this. And then, a while later he was like, I just really want to hear this sound. And it came back to me. And then to that same scale at that point. So yeah, and so that's the best way. I've heard it. So from there, it was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna be different. Like that's what I'm gonna be.
Coat at the thrift store.
What's that?
You get the fur coat at the thrift store?
No, I paid like $100 for that bitch from China, and it's like 3 sizes too small.
You got it off a Wish, and it came in the Asian.
Yeah, it was brother. I could only move in the ways that you saw me move in the video. Like that's as far as my arms would go. I couldn't do anything else outside of that. So, but yeah, so it was like the integrity part about it was like I'm just gonna be different. I'm gonna be myself, and what comes with me is I'm gonna buy this fur coat, and I'm gonna fucking wear these ring pops to accentuate the glamour and glitz of rings, and
I tell you, it's iconic. It's just like kimchi because it would show up in my news feed. You did this thing that I would want other rappers to like emulate, man. Where you started to meme yourself in that outfit in different current memes that were in, and it would just be like a little bit of pepper in my timeline, and it always giggle because the joke just never stopped. It only just kind of snowballed on.
Oh, the best was when I'd get booked for shows and they'd be like, "Yo, send us the picture that you want us to use," and I'd be like, "Here you go," and they'd be like, "Are you fucking serious? Like this is the picture you want to go with?" And it'd just be me holding the dog with the ring pops, and I was like, "Yeah." But I like people. What's that?
It's a Chihuahua, right?
Yeah. It's one of my chihuahuas actually. She's in the room right now. Actually, they both are. But yeah, they would do that, and then like they'd see the show, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're the dude on the flyer with the Chihuahua, huh?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, that was me." Yeah, the memes are fun, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. Memology is a whole thing, man. That's a whole episode diving into memetics. But it is amazing how they're like little seeds of ideas, and how much it influences discourse nowadays, and debate is mind-boggling. But if those who can use memes to their sides can it's like magic on the internet, man. You can diffuse hate, win over trolls.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you pay attention to any negativity online, or do you just let it go? How do you interact with that?
It depends on how they're trying to go about it. I like, truth be told, I very much don't feed into shit for the most part. I'm not. My whole thing is like, I don't have time for this. Like, I engineer my own music. I mix it. I master it. I do cover art. I do a blog. I do a vlog. I have a family. I got 4 dogs. I got a house that, this is broken, and I find out this is broken, and both of them need to be fixed. I design my merch. I'm pushing social media content constantly, and then I handle digital marketing for a couple other people too. So for me, it's like, if you want to jump on with some hate, if I really gotta jump in and mitigate it for whatever reason, I will. But it's very rare that I need to. Outside of that, it's like I don't have time for that. I can't. You're not paying me enough to deal with that. Is how I feel about it. So, and it doesn't get me paid to yell at somebody on Facebook. So it's really just, or on any social media site, unless it were to. If it were to, like if me and 50 Cent went at it or something, all right, bet. Like I'll take that smoke. But otherwise, no.
A lot of these beefs that do draw our attention are, I mean, there's got to be to some degree. There is. Don't get me wrong, chaos exists, but but yeah, if it's being put out, it's likely a reason. Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, see, and what you were just talking about is touching on like something that is so profound about specifically what you do and what it is to be like an independent hustler and a hip hop artist. Is all of these balls that you have to juggle in the air, or dishes on spinning plates on sticks, that you got to keep up. And you do a fantastic job. What for you is one of the things that you found is, has been best for your expansion, your growth as an artist?
I would say, I guess it would depend on what in particular, but like as far as like getting me out in front of people, it's just
eyeballs.
Yeah, It's just consistency. Um, kind of whatever you're gonna do, it doesn't matter. Like if you take your podcast for instance, if you don't, you gotta trudge through that 59th episode that you don't want to do if nobody watched it. You know what I mean? You gotta trudge through that 85th episode that you don't want to do if nobody watched it. You gotta remain consistent. You don't want to do it sometimes, and sometimes you won't. I'll be straight up. Like my blog is very new, um, but I haven't written in it in 2 weeks because I've been working on getting my next project all up to date and ready to release and everything. But it's like the second that I have that all automated and ready to go, I've already got my next topic for my blog and I'm jumping straight back into it. So it's really just maintaining that consistency above all with absolutely anything that you're gonna do.
This is a great point that you're bringing up, because I love that you're starting this blog.
Thank you.
Is there a point to having a Facebook these days? Because if you have a blog, and you know the people that are your fans on Facebook, they care enough that they will save it as a bookmark in their browser.
Mhm.
But what are your thoughts on that? Is
It depends on what you use it for. So like for me, I'm getting to the point, come mid-November, I'm getting rid of my personal Facebook altogether. I'm gonna keep my business profile, because that's where I would still interact with people. And I'm personally going to Twitter and Instagram more so, and then for my big thoughts, I'm utilizing my blog or my music. Um, to so to me, there's really no point in running all of these social medias. It's just kind of like it'll give me a little bit more bandwidth to be able to utilize. And from a marketing standpoint, for instance, you can't use search engine optimization with Facebook. It doesn't integrate. It doesn't work that way. So because of that, if you're trying to do something with your brand, you're not staying alive on the internet long enough. You gotta, if you want to look at it, I like to look at it, and from what I've read about, this is my favorite metaphor. You got to look at the internet as a city. Um, if your house in the city can't be Facebook, because Facebook is a cocktail lounge. Twitter is a cocktail lounge. Instagram is a cocktail lounge. You can't live at a cocktail lounge.
max shots?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't live at the cocktail lounge. If you live there, you're gonna be that creepy old dude who's always at the bar. Like you're in your 50s at the bar, and people are like, I don't want that. If you want to have real estate, if you want to own a house, you need some form of a site. You need some form of landing page. What's that?
Your domain.
Yes, yeah, you need something. And it can be so many things. Like you don't, for me, I picked a blog because I like to, I have these big thoughts that I just like to write out. It's therapeutic for me. But like it can be a podcast is perfect as long as you know how to make sure to cite it properly. It can be a vlog, YouTube. YouTube is a domain. It's a place. It's a hub where you can utilize search engine optimization. But Facebook and
That's so true. And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Just that YouTube is a search engine just as much as Google is.
Mm-hmm.
Than Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, in that people go to YouTube and search how to.
Yep. All day long.
Yeah, it's a brilliant distinction.
Yeah. No, and it's like when I work with artists, when I do consults with artists, it's kind of breaking that mold of helping them understand, like, look, man, like you're a brand. You're not an artist. Like, yes, you're an artist. Of course you're an artist. That's why you got into it. But if you want to survive in it, if you want to live in it, you want to do it for a living, you're going to have to be a brand.
You got to meme yourself.
Yeah, you got to meme the fuck out of yourself a lot. And you're going to get 3 likes on one meme and 100 on another. And you got to take it all, But you got to figure out a way to monetize and quantify that. And a lot of people, that's not where their head's at. They don't look at it that way. They're like, oh, I'm going to do a music video and I'm going to get Sheila down the street to twerk for me real quick. And I'm going to take my whole paycheck and throw it in the air. And it's like, that's cool, but you're not getting paid off of that unless like you go viral for being fucking ridiculous, which is great. Hey, I would take that. I'll go viral for doing some stupid shit because I'll flip it somehow. I'll find a way to make it work for myself. But you know,
You're adaptable
I'm maneuver.
in the post-truth era.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
language is changing so much. You got to be fluctuating with it.
Exactly.
That's what fluid is about, bro.
That's what fluid's about, man. Be adaptable. Well, and it's like I see you guys out in Arizona, Futuristic and his whole crew just started Indie Amplify. I
Oh,
don't know if you've heard anything about that. Yeah, that I think from just a personal artist standpoint, that thing is cool as fuck. Like that whole site, I'm like,
Hang on one second.
oh, no worries.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, my headphone died, so I'm on the computer now.
Man.
Um,
We just roll with it. No,
yeah.
I haven't heard about this thing, the Futuristic starting, but I love Futuristic. He's always like a, what is it? Like an pioneer, I guess I would say.
Yeah, Spearhead. Yeah, so he started. I don't know if it's him in particular. He's got a team with him. Obviously, they started a thing called Indie Amplify, and it's a one-stop shop where artists can you can buy features there. You can buy beats there. You can get your stuff engineered through them. You can buy promo there. You can buy like a marketing plan to like sit with somebody and figure out how you're going to market your next project. It's literally just this like whole one-stop shop short of distribution. And my understanding is they're probably going to work on that.
Wow. Okay. So this happened while I was in LA, or this is the first that I'm hearing of this in Arizona. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That explains why I know so many people with Futuristic features.
I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I bet they're coming in right now. I bet they're flooded.
No, that makes sense. Oh, brilliant. No, dude. Okay, so yeah, Futuristic even did this whole thing where he was performing with a local band here in Phoenix that I just absolutely love called the Color 8. And then he took the Color 8 on tour with him and brought all of this live, musical instrumentation into the whole thing. Yeah, I got nothing but love for all. He's probably what I would have to say is the Arizona artist that's broken through the most into the mainstream.
I would, as far as
probably like, there's definitely, don't get me wrong here, there's been a lot of people that have had like singles that have charted, but I'm talking as much as like a household name now.
Yeah, with consistency. I mean, from what I know, like I said, I'm not in the Arizona scene, but I seem to have quite a few. Just kind of interacting with you guys, I've garnered quite a few different people from there, which I think personally, I think y'all scene is cool as shit. Like the fact that your governor, like, the fact that your governor made like a hip hop day, or your mayor, or whoever the hell did it.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
No, that's been such a blessing.
It's cool. It's super dope. And like I know dozens of Colorado artists who have gone there to try to get exposure, and have come back with great stories. So I think that's one of those things where it's like, I feel like y'all really pioneered something there, and I feel like we need to follow suit with something like that out here. I think that would be super cool. And really just every city that's trying to like really do something like that, trying to like, who's not in LA and who's not in Atlanta and who's not in Chicago. It's like, you got to build them up. We got to build ourselves up so we can do that with these other states by following that mold and taking advantage of that kind of opportunity,
Man, that's what I would love to see. Obviously, it's not happening right now because of COVID, but
Sure.
There's going to be a rebound and a renaissance festival activity. It's inevitable.
It's going to be huge.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be, but it has to be, it's going to be love centered, hopefully. And it's got hopefully focused, centered and compassionate. The only way to do that is with music and positive, conscious, like, vibrations. But if, cause right now everything is just so like, everything's getting so compressed.
Yeah.
That's how you make a diamond. But there's gonna be this swing out of at least the COVID chaos that goes towards like everybody's free again to like go and be in concerts and in festival environments and date free, without dread. Lord knows if that's in 2 years or something like that. But the or even hopefully sooner.
We'll see. You know, maybe we'll get through the election and it'll all disappear. Who knows?
Oh gosh, that would be splendid.
I'll take it.
I ready for it to go back in like week 2, and I was like on the Q train, boop boop, and I was, this needs to all be a conspiracy, and it's going to be wrapped up in watch out for these 3 days of darkness coming. And then the thing that's interesting with that is just all a bunch of moving dates, and then there's a point where you can just, I don't know, it becomes faith based. So yeah, you gotta just step back and laugh at it, but also not try to predict when anything is going to naturally work itself out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a couple theories on it, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? To me, I've really kind of looked at COVID and this whole situation as like honestly a blessing for creatives. I feel like. And I feel like if you were, as a creative, able to harness the opportunity to, I feel like people are making some of the best stuff that they've ever made. And I feel like right now we're at a point where we can like really, it's like we were going so fast and we don't have a choice now. It's like you have to slow down. You don't have a choice. I feel like that's what led to people being like, like the protests, for instance. It was this thing where it was like, this shit's been going on for years. And yeah, we had protests a few years back, but they were nowhere near the scale that they are right now. What's the difference? And it's like, well, people got time today. A lot of people lost their jobs. They got time. Yeah. Yeah, they like people got time to handle stuff today. So that being the case, now people have time to like really get creative and really sit down and be like, I'm gonna get back to that oil painting I was doing, and I'm gonna get back to that song I was making. What's that?
My dad's an oil painter.
Oh,
been prolific during quarantine, but then again, he's naturally quarantined. But
sure.
But no, it's that's very, very true, Toussaint. It's like it is the energy that you allow it to be and that you choose to manifest in terms of your interpretation. It's like either you're in a quarantine prison or you are in a space of creative, inspiration or even allowing yourself to slow down enough to think about what you really want to say in your song or in your painting or in your art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's different too. Like if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, like those are going to take, and you got to take that into consideration. Extroverts are like going fucking insane right now. I'm an ambivert, so I'm blessed to be able to do a little bit of both, but I know I recharge being introverted. I don't recharge when I'm being extroverted. I'm capable of it, but it's not how I draw in energy.
No, I totally agree with you. Even doing like a performance, you would then need like a couple days or maybe a day afterward to just be like, okay, I need a long time to recharge after.
Yep, that's 100% my energy. Like when it comes to performances, I love them. I have a great time. I am like I'm. You can't reach me for 2 days after a performance, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna tour with that type of energy. I don't know yet, but.
There was one time after a performance that I was just alone at a IHOP at like 2 a.m. and I was in full fluid costume, like the eye and everything. And it's just like but it wasn't like a sad thing. It was just like it was like the Avengers, like the after credit scene with shawarma.
Yeah.
I was at the IHOP because it was the only thing that was open, just like refueling. I was through like 4 waters.
Yeah, and it's not sad. Like it's good, but you're just like, don't talk to me. Like I want this, and like that's it. Don't ask me why I'm wearing this. Don't ask me why I look like this. Leave me alone.
No, I'm happy to explain it usually. Then the person's like, interesting. What's your how have you found it the best way to build your Instagram?
That comes down to consistency again. It
may be the title of this episode.
Consistency is key with absolutely anything. Being consistent and showing up is key. I think that with Instagram, a lot of it is you like even shit that you feel like I can't make a post about this. It's like, get creative and find a way to, like, and try to be open, like I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like, I just wish that I could be a bad bitch, because like literally you always have content. It's your body.
Oh, OnlyFans, man. That's how people
Oh.
get through COVID.
Yeah, obviously. Like, and that bleeds into their Instagram. They're like, here's a picture, but you can't see my nipples. What's that? Yeah, exactly. Swipe up. Swipe up. Yeah, it's like, here's a picture, you can't see my nipples, but if you go here, you'll be able to see them. It's like, I'm jealous of,
About seeing the nipple.
I don't know.
Whole thing. It is the holy grail.
There's like, but the weird thing is, if you were to only see nipple, wouldn't do it.
What is that? There's it has no context.
Yeah, that's just a nipple. I don't know whose nipple that is. Is it a guy's nipple?
He needs the frame.
It's two pieces. It's two pieces to the perfect puzzle.
This is like the Kanye line. I love your breasts because they allow me to focus on two things at the same time.
At once, yeah, exactly.
Once.
Not, but it's so for us less not bad bitches, or half bad bitches. We gotta actually come up with stuff. We gotta figure out, like, hey, how can I make this Lysol container interesting today? How can I do that? And it's like, oh, I'll make a COVID post.
That's the whole thing about what it is to be, whatever you choose to identify with your gender, but like to embody masculinity. It's even in the animal world. It's like sometimes the peacock has got to be, able to have a very brilliant fan of feathers. Mm-hmm. Or the even the best in like the chimpanzee world, like how far can he drag this branch?
Yeah.
This is what's going to determine
if he's getting all the bitches or not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, the women. I don't like to say bitches anymore.
Nobody's going to cancel you, Toussaint. I won't let them.
Thank you. Cancel culture. That's one that I love too.
That's what happened, Toussaint.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I do say cunt. I say cunt for sure. I don't know if I can.
We're recording this on a Thursday, and I saw that post. I said, "See you next Thursday."
Yeah, I do love that one.
It's all in the context, and I think that this is one of the things that when we live in a Twitter world, or we live in a social media world of images and little text boxes, then everything is within the context that we choose to interpret it and project it. And the brilliant, most enlightened people can just see both sides of it, and that's also, the beauty. It's like this parable of a 6 and a 9.
Yeah,
you got two people positioned on opposite side of it, and of course, it's exactly as they see it. But what's your capability to be adaptable?
Right. Neither
change views.
Right. Neither one's wrong. It's just a matter of perspective, and where you're willing to go with your perspective. I think that's a big, so for me personally, that's a big thing when it comes to truth. It's like, you can't know truth until you understand all sides of it. And until you get all sides of a certain situation, you have no idea what's actually going on yet. So you need to give that benefit of the doubt until you figure it out. Even with anything, whatever you do or don't like, it's like you only have a portion of the truth there. And until you get that other perspective, you have no idea what is actually happening. People get mad at people who are willing to vote for Donald Trump, but it's like, those people willing to vote are generally oil farmers. That's how they make their money. They don't have college degrees or high school degrees. This is the most money they've made in their lives and will probably ever make in their lives. And they want the American dream the same way that old Johnny, who grew up with his family's money, who got to go to Harvard, they want that same type of lifestyle that he's got, and this is how they get it. And if you want to shut that down by going against Donald Trump, that's a problem for you. So and in no way am I endorsing Donald Trump here. I don't want it to come off that way, but I'm saying that's the perspective that people refuse to look at, is like, yeah, but what about, Joe Schmo who lives in the boonies, who is trying to make ends meet himself, and this is how he does it. And so you can only know your truth when you can understand both of those perspectives.
That's 100%. I'm in agreement with that. The interesting thing is, I've always worked with like movies originally, and then but and then writing, but it's so much with character, and especially, you know, you're trying to get in the mind of something that you've created, but like actually like a character that's going to make decisions. You spend so much time paradigm surfing, as I call it, but then it kind of becomes a muscle that you can easily use and flex. And so then, man, it opens up, you know, a wonderful possibility for empathy.
Yeah.
And
No, 100%.
spend the time thinking in somebody else's mind. Well, that's the beauty of compassion, and that's the world that I would want to see. And that's what I hope. I think that hip hop can bring us closer to that. But then it's also all about acceptance, right? And that's what everybody, you know, it's the compassion and it's the acceptance. But you got to be bold and be yourself. There's one song that I wanted to also talk about with yours that is totally bold, awesome, and I just can't rep it enough. And that one is Ric Flair.
Pull up to the scene like woo. Pull up with the team like woo. Pull up in that thing like woo. Like what the fuck you mean like woo? Like I don't really need my woo. Ain't no telling what we might do. Pull up, make them scream like woo. Pull up, make them sing like woo.
I love Ric Flair. Yep.
That beat is incredible.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Oh, it's bananas. It's incredible. Want to talk about like a total banger that I could just it makes me dance, makes my body move. The water rearranges, man. That's Biv on that track.
Yes, Biv. Yep.
He's it keeps me up at night that more people don't know about Biv.
I didn't know about Biv. I learned about Biv when we did Ric Flair. Actually, I didn't, because
I learned about Biv when you did Ric Flair. I was like, who made this beat? Something is I've never he's like one of top 10 for me in terms of beat makers on YouTube for sure. But he does his own just music. I just respect. He's probably in my top 10 for just artists, period.
I gotta look him up then. I didn't know he did. He did music. I had no idea. I gotta.
Interesting, unique, niche stuff, man. But his talk about consistency. He remains, and he does these albums that like are almost stories. And then he's got a very, very interesting way that he modulates his voice, and he balances some pretty melodic stuff with some kind of like deeper, darker. It almost reminds me of Tool.
Okay.
Kind of like screaming, but it's modulated. But it's not like screamo.
Yeah.
But yeah, he slept on.
No, I'm still sleeping on him technically, and I got a beef for him.
I mean, you got an amazing track to him, and then you guys going out and shooting that music video, and that's also Manuel Rios on the track, right?
Yeah, Theory.
Theory.
Shout out Theory.
Shout out to Theory. Yeah, you and Richie Stokes. What tell me a little bit about the creative process behind that video.
That one, it was kind of a collective. For the most part, me and Richie wrote a vast majority of it. Sean, who shoots all of our videos, Sean Asakura, shout out Sean. He definitely had his contributions, and then Theory had his as well. I think Theory was kind of reluctant at first, if I can be totally frank. Like, I think he was like, y'all want to do what?
Want you to put him in a sombrero in the bathroom?
No, he was good with that. I think it was the concept of like, hey, like we're not gonna be cool at all. Like, we're gonna be fucking weirdos. Like, we're just gonna be these like total like nobody wants to kick it with them. Totally like eccentric, like outgoing, doesn't care about shit, but like they're just so off to this degree that it's like I have to keep watching what's happening, but like I'm uncomfortable.
It's BYOB, so just go ahead. Bring something, don't come empty-handed. It's BYOB, all right? You good? We're good.
What the fuck is BYOB?
Bring your own. Bring your own bear. Bring your own banana.
Bring your own. It's definitely bring your own.
Yeah, so we kind of were like, well, let's do something that it was like this whole like, it's a turned up song, like it's a party song, like you expect to see. Yeah, like you expect to see party footage. Like if you ever see us perform it live, it's insane every time. Like the energy just gets brought out. It makes people move. And we were like, how can we just do something with this that's like still funny and different than what you would normally see. And so we invented these characters, Spank Bang Hank and Sterile Daryl.
I'm Sterile Daryl.
And I'm Spank Bang Hank.
And today, we're going to show you how to pull up to the scene
Like, woo! Wait!
And we were just like, let's get these wigs and let's get these offbeat clothes. So I had like these like tights.
After Ric Flair, right? Like,
Well, yeah, like there was an element of modeling it off of Ric Flair, but it was just kind of like, it was like, yes, Ric Flair, but also we want to be these characters, you know, like we want to be two dudes that like watch Ric Flair and like and like believe in Ric Flair almost. You know what I mean? Like,
just so, in case anybody doesn't know who Ric Flair is, he's a very famous wrestler from the WCW and WWF eventually, but like where he would always shout out, "Woo,
woo, Nature Boy, Ric Flair," and he got all the women's.
Yeah, and then his daughter went out, and then she got all of the she became like a champion in her own right, man. Like the legacy, she became Nature Girl or something like that. I don't follow wrestling as closely as I used to when I was in 8th grade. It's a shame.
It is a shame. I don't either, but it's a damn shame for sure. I feel you.
Damn shame. But I got other shit to do.
But yeah. So, go ahead.
No, I was just saying your characters that you guys created are gnarly and funny.
Yeah. So we were just like, so let's just make it. It was this whole concept where like we go way back with Theory, and we're in town, and his mom is telling us at the beginning that he needs to hang out with us because we don't know anybody in town. And he's like, I don't want to hang out with them. And then it leads to like him seeing us, and we're like, oh, Theory, like it's so cool to see you, and like, you know, we're those guys that you're just like, it's those kids from like elementary school that you're like, yeah, y'all used to eat worms, fam. Like you guys used to sniff glue. Like I don't want to hang out. You guys might still eat worms and sniff glue, so I don't want to hang out with you guys. And from there it was just like, so what's the story? And the story had to be like, you know, Theory's invited to this party because he's cool. He's what's happening, and he's got to bring these two guys around that he just doesn't want to bring. And he's like, it's BYOB, and that leads to like, well, we don't. What the fuck is BYOB? You know, like I've never heard of this, and which leads to us buying.
How are we? What do you expect from these?
Yeah, we've never been invited to a party.
Yeah,
I can't think. There's too much pressure. I gotta go take a stress shit. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like it's totally super bad, like 100%. Like I would say it was totally modeled off of that, and it's just a weird day. It's one of those weird days because it's like then this drug dealer comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Did you say BYOB?" And it's just like, "Where did you come from?"
Also play that character, right?
Yes, I was also drug dealer number 1.
BYOB.
Somebody say BYOB.
Yes. Brownies, man. Duh.
Yeah, so and you know, then that obviously all of that has to lead to the climax, which is the party scene.
Like woo! 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 Like woo! 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 Like woo! 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 Like woo!
And you find out at the end of the video, you know, Theory finally got out of his shell, and he's like, "Oh,
you guys are awesome, man. We definitely gotta do this again, bro."
We would, but you're kind of fucking weird.
You're strange.
Subversion of expectation.
Yeah. So yeah, it was that. I'd say out of all of my videos, that was probably the most fun to shoot, like hands down to this day. We had a total blast.
It's a killer song. Where can people find it?
Everywhere, all streaming platforms under
all your stuff on all streaming platforms.
Yep, always. Everything's on all streaming platforms. That one is Ric Flair, and then yeah, everything is Toussaint Lorenz across the board. TOUSSAINT. You probably won't find another Lorenz, but that's spelled how you would think it would be spelled. But everything is spelled that way.
Man, well, dude, I gotta say, it has been a real pleasure to get to sit down, man, and dive into this. Your music is super authentic, and the way that you market and present yourself online, I think that there's a lot to look up to and a lot to for people to look to in order to like understand how to play the game, so that they get the most out of it in their own brand. And I think that you're right on, man, with your understanding of brand, how important that is. And then the consistency. Here we go. We're rapping. But the consistency is like the part that I think, Phil, that's going to be my takeaway, my lesson from this podcast, man.
Sure.
You got to even like I got to watch this when I'm at episode 89 and 700 people are watching.
Bro, I'm a million. You'll have a million people watching by then. I
don't know. I am just another white male starting a podcast. So I'm really relying on the quality of my content to set me up.
Hey man, it's gonna be that consistency. It's gonna be the content. Take pictures of everything. You need to find your young Jamie who's taking pictures.
Well, you just got to. This is the one thing that I've learned about the manifestation in the universe is you just gotta be very clear with what you want, and then allow yourself to have it. That part,
allowing yourself to have it. I see a therapist, and I struggle very much with the acceptance of I'm gonna allow myself to accept the things that I've been working to achieve. It is very, very difficult. It's a mind game 100%. And if you or anybody else struggles with that, you have to. It's not enough to want it. It's not enough to go for it. It's not enough to take action for it. You have to accept it when it comes. If you don't, then you did all the work for no reason. You didn't get the achievement. It was just pain. Honestly, it was grind. So
yeah. Oh, now we're getting into the deep stuff. That's the meaning that comes out of suffering, and and then the identity that sometimes can be attached to victimhood, and then finding that as a real resource of power, because it really does establish a clear line of at least your interpretation of morality and virtuosity. And then in that sense, superiority. And it's like, well, whoever wronged me, I am better than them. And then that gives me, you can sleep at night. But once again, it's the paradigm surfing thing that we were talking about earlier, or the ability to put yourself into another's place and then, and see that or feel that.
Yep, and and it's tough because you really ultimately you want to skip all that shit and just get past victimhood altogether, past superiority altogether. None of that should be what keeps you up or helps you fall asleep at night. You need to find integrity and morale inside yourself. Be comfortable with where you are and who you are as a person, and understand that life it's fluid. It's as my therapist put it, it's a wave. And when it's high, you ride your highs. When it's low, you ride your lows. But you ride all the same, no matter what. It's also, when it comes down to who wronged you, the hardest part about being an adult to me or growing up to me has been understanding that, like, it doesn't matter who did what to wrong me. It is 100% my responsibility to fix it for myself, in myself, and with myself. If I can do that, then whatever they did, it's null and void. Didn't matter. It's just another blip on my timeline of existence and on their timeline of existence. But their apology shouldn't be the catalyst to whether or not I forgive myself or am accepting of the situation that I was in. I can do that without that. And that learning to take responsibility of all things that come to you, regardless of how it came to you. Not saying if somebody takes from you, right, you can't sit there and say, well, it was my fault. It's not saying that there's fault, but it's accepting the responsibility of fixing it without that person being a part of the fixing process. So that's the number one most difficult thing.
Yourself, as opposed to waiting for anything external in order to give you peace.
Exactly.
Yield. No, that's beautiful. No, and that's very, very true.
Deep.
Deep.
Got real deep real fast.
Woo! But I liked it a lot. I want this whole thing to be, man. Wow. Yeah.
That was Philoso-Rapper right there. That was, if you take a soundbite for this episode, it's that.
It was that right there. Yeah.
It was that.
On the Philoso-Rapper podcast.
And then they gotta watch the whole episode to get to that one part right there where they're just like, this was that moment of life-changing understanding. That's the shit that people need, man. That's what we all need right now is understanding that.
That's so true. And this is what Brandon Rodello is the reason that we met, and he's a guest on the show coming up here soon. But he told me something, and I'm sure he heard it from somewhere. I don't know exactly who. You may know, but hip hop defined as higher intelligent power healing our people.
I've heard it. I never knew that thing.
Said by unknown. I'm sure Brandon would tell me who said it, but it is. I really do believe that because of the attention that currently possesses in the zeitgeist of society, what is music that people listen to, man, being able to make people think while they move. But you got to make them move first. It's just like you got to make them laugh first before you make them think. But if you make them move and then you make them think, that's what Michael Jackson did.
Exactly. It's what do I call it? It's the backwards mullet method. That's what I call it in my digital marketing. It's party in the front, business in the back.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Backward.
Business in the back. That's right.
Yep. Backwards mullet method. Get them to dance. Get them to have a good time. Then give them that shit. Give them what they really. Give them the reason they're trying to dance it out. They got something there that needs to come out, and they're trying to dance it out. You just got to give it. This is why you're doing it. Bam.
And so that being said, you got this new song that's coming out soon called Mustard Cherry.
EP. I got a new EP.
New EP called Mustard Cherry.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit.
What's that?
Tell me a little bit about it.
It's so I last August is when I started engineering my own music. Kind of the same thing with your podcast. I had to get my my interface, and then my headphones, my microphone, my speakers. I needed a better microphone, and then I needed to learn. And so I quickly I think I've read like 5 books on it. I've got a network of engineers that I pulled off of. The first song I released that I personally engineered myself was Venetian Sweater Weather. And in Venetian Sweater Weather.
Song, by the way.
Thank you.
Video.
What's that?
Venetian Sweater Weather is another cool video.
Yes. Yeah. I love that one. But in the song I say
describe how you feel using the color. I'd say mustard cherry.
And from there I released a couple other singles that I engineered myself. There was Blah Blah Blah, which was more of an alternative, almost rock record. I did Pick Up Sticks featuring Black Pegasus, who's a Colorado legend. And I just kind of felt like I've done a lot of singles over the course of the last 2 years, and I wanted to give a project. And so I was like, at first it was going to be called I think I was going to call it Honey. And then I was like, no, like it should be Mustard Cherry. Like it should, like, that's how I'm feeling right now. Like I feel like Mustard Cherry. And my wife was like, yeah, like definitely, obviously, like that's what you need to do. And so it's kind of this collective of it's all bangers. It's really not like a lot of people have been like, I want you to like give us some more introspective stuff. It's not that. It's really all slaps. But they're high energy. What's that?
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, no, nothing at all. And
you need to dance.
We do. And with any of my slaps, there's consciousness in it. That's always my goal, is like, how can I take this upbeat, like turns up record, and what can I slip in there? What can that little shit that's going like hit that one dude who's tripping a little too hard, who's like, I'm just gonna like send him like down a rabbit hole immediately. You know what I mean? So
take him to go and see Blackface Jesus.
Gotta go get him next. So yeah, it's mostly bops. There's one record on there that is different than anything I've ever done in my entire life, different than anybody has heard me do, and debatably anybody's heard, kind of like, period. Like I said, debatably. It was definitely inspired by a band that I love called Days and Days. But I'm super excited to share it with people. It drops November 6th. Very high energy, very, very lyrical, very fun. I think everybody's gonna be feeling Mustard Cherry once they get to listen to it. So I'm very excited for it.
On all platforms, I'm sure.
All platforms, everywhere. You can pre-save it right now. Go to the link in my bio on anything that I have going on social media wise.
The only Toussaint Lorenz. What are you waiting for? Very easy.
It's helpful. It's very, What's up?
Oh no, I'm talking to the audience right now. I'm breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
Break it.
I'm saying, take it. Toussaint's music is awesome, and you got to follow him because he's a very authentic artist. Mustard Cherry's coming out November 6th.
Yes, sir.
Dude, it has been a real pleasure to talk to you, and feels like you're just here in the living room with me. To be totally honest, I do have a light in my face, and I'm talking to a camera where I'm seeing myself, but I really do. It's nice to just at least hear you right here in the room.
No, it's a vibe, man. I appreciate you so much for having me. I'm super, super stoked for everything that you're doing. I wish you nothing but success. If I can help out in any way,
we'll collaborate at some point, man. I want to make it happen. We just have to find the right song.
Oh yeah, no, I think a record is definitely in order with Richie. Me and Richie.
I should be so lucky.
No, that's Richie. The day that we met you, we were like, we're gonna do a record with this dude. Like, we have to.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, no, it's definitely on. We're definitely gonna do that. But I wish you nothing but success with this, and you just let me know any way that I can ever help out with it, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. It's been all mine to pick your brain. You are a true creative, truly authentic, and you got a great head on your shoulders as far as being able to engineer your own music and manage your own social media. Follow Toussaint Lorenz to understand, man, it's the Mandalorian. This is the way. There's another Star Wars reference that you may not get. But.
I love, I'm all there, dude.
You're all there with the Mandalorian?
Yeah. Well, I don't watch the show, but I want to really bad. I'm like,
I hear you. I got a free year of Disney Plus with my Verizon plan, but that expires before season 2. So I'm like, somebody, I'm coming over. It's got to be. That was the way that it used to be, man. And at least when I was in high school, weekly something come out, and I'd go over to somebody's house.
Yep.
Homies would all chill, and we watched Lost.
Yep.
That's the Mandalorian. You can do that if you want.
Bringing it back. I can't get Disney Plus because I got too much stuff to do with my life, and I know that I will binge watch so much stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I've got way too much stuff to do, bro.
Yeah, I can't do it. So you watch it for me. I'll live vicariously through you.
Exactly. I'll do a Mandalorian review YouTube channel, and then you can just watch the recaps.
Hey, that's $1 million idea. I would hold on to that.
Yeah. All right, bro. Well, hey, man, you take care. Give my best to everybody in Colorado, and respect to Colorado hip hop. Thank you for being on the Philoso-Rapper podcast. And I look forward to having you back on episode 200 or something.
Hey, vice versa. I want episode 222. That's the episode I want.
There it is. So it is.
So it is. All right, man. You have a good one.
Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha? Eh, oh. Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha? Eh. Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha? Can I be a Buddha? Eh.